Welcome to Coalition League, everyone. It's week one of the summer split, and we're so happy to be here. I'm Random Minion Caster. Alongside me is Adorit Luna. How are you doing, Luna?
I am doing pretty good. It's nice to be back after the break.
For sure, and we are definitely ready to be back. Lots of changes this season as well. We're running two gold leagues here of six teams apiece, as well as a four-team silver league. So we will be looking to cast all those games. So definitely be glad to have everybody here. And speaking of which, game one will be DovN Nightfall versus Glacial Omen for tonight, and they're getting right into the picks and bans here. So on the blue side, DovN Nightfall. On the red side here is going to be Glacial Inferno, I believe. So it looks like the bans coming out from DovN Nightfall are going to be a Nocturne ban and a Yasuo ban to start the evening, while Glacial Inferno going to go with the Lucian ban. And speaking of the teams here, DovN Nightfall mostly keeping the same team. It's going to be Lord of Aces in the top lane, Gunth in the jungle as expected. Now, mid lane, a bit of a change. Phantom X not available tonight, so we have Web Hippo instead going from the support to the mid lane. Poison Lynch still as ADC, and Mohawk Gaming going to be the support for tonight. And on the side of Glacial Inferno, we've got Lord Raji in the top lane, Kamehame Wave in the jungle, Windstorm in the mid lane, That Girl, JWTV as the ADC, and Nimue support. And the ban's going to be finished here for DovN Nightfall. They're going to go with a Tryndamere and a Yasuo ban. So that's going to be Nocturne, Tryndamere, Yasuo, while Glacial Inferno going with the Lucian Vayne Grave. So all attack damage carries. Interesting bans here.
Yeah, for sure. The Graves one really stands out to me. Like, does Gunk even play Graves? I'm not too familiar if he does or not. But
Yeah,
not just that, I mean, unless Glacial is looking to possibly secure Swain, last season, Web Hippo's Swain was a terror to deal with.
yeah, definitely. But I guess they're considering maybe the Swain is only a support pick here for Web Hippo, and he is playing the mid lane today, so perhaps not really considering a threat. They will pick up Morgana for their first pick for DovN Nightfall. We do know that Web Hippo did play Morgana in that bot lane, often going with the Caitlyn on Poison Lynch, but in the mid lane, I don't know if that will necessarily be for Web Hippo on the mid lane. On the side of Glacial Inferno, they're going to go with the Ziggs and Caitlyn here for their first two picks.
Ah, that's a smart play. They steal the Caitlyn from Poison Lynch. So I mean that you don't have to worry about it if you just take it for yourself. So I'm curious to see what Poison Lynch is going to pick into Caitlyn because I mean Poison Lynch played great on Caitlyn last season,
For
and
sure.
the Jin that seems like a good answer to me.
Definitely. Oh, sorry. That is not a Ziggs pick on side of Glacial Inferno. There was an error. That is actually a Leona pick. So that's going to be a Leona Caitlyn bot lane coming out of Glacial Inferno, and they're going to be running a Morg Jin into that instead.
Hmm, that's scary.
And now a Nami pick from DovN Nightfall. So I guess that is going to be Web Hippo on the Morgana in the mid lane potentially.
All right. Unless like Gunth has some secret tech and that's a Morg jungle, I doubt it.
I mean, we've heard of it before. I believe Doki does play that Morg jungle, and he's a big proponent of it. So hey, who knows? But as you said, quite unlikely. And Glacial Inferno going to round out their first round here with the Oriana pick for the mid lane. So that's going to be the bot lane and mid lane pick for Inferno, matching DovN Nightfall. Glacial Inferno going to get the first ban of the second rotation here, and it looks like they're going to go for Master Yi. I'm not sure that Gunth played that in organized play before, but he certainly does play it in solo queue. And then the Aatrox ban coming out, definitely targeted at Lord Raji. He's been playing a lot of that in solo queue recently, practicing that for the top lane. The Nar ban coming out on the side of Glacial Inferno against Lord of Aces as well. So a lot of attention being paid to that top lane right now. And now DovN Nightfall looking for their last ban here. And it looks like they're going to ban out Nasus. So three bans in the top lane.
So what I'm curious about is who's going to pull the trigger first? Who's going to pick up the bear? Because in our league, Volibear is legal to play. although he's only been out since the patch which dropped last week.
Yeah, definitely. Volibear is enabled for Coalition League right from the start here. And we're going to see an Ornn pickup on the side of Glacial Inferno for Lord Raji. I'm not sure how much he's played Ornn recently, but that is a very, very stable pick on the side of DOV Nightfall. Going to go with the Amumu for Gunth again. We see him do work on that champion last split, so he's going to go for it once more. It's going to be the last pick here for DOV Nightfall now. They're going to look for their top laner here, and it's going to be that Mordekaiser for Lord of Aces.
You know, I was actually really hoping for the Volibear just because of like in-game lore stuff, since Volibear and Ornn are brothers. But Mordekaiser is really strong, so I don't blame him.
For sure, and Lord of Aces is very comfortable on that champion. Does play it a lot, has played it last season as well, and it works very well to isolate targets there. You can keep Ornn or Leon out, and it's going to be a Trundle to finish off the picks here from Glacial Inferno, most likely into the jungle for Kamehameha Wave here.
Yeah, that's a very solid pick. Uh, the Trundle will help counter the Mordekaiser. Like, if Lord Aces gets ahead, then I mean, you know, Kamehameha Wave's just gonna be like, oh hey, there's some free stats for me. Sure, thanks, buddy. I'll be taking those.
Yeah, definitely free stats, and we'll be able to just run into the back line there. And not a ton of mobility or sort of displacement spells from DOV Nightfall either. They can't just blink around and dodge it. So definitely a good thing for the Trundle there. Pillar can mess up a lot of them. But I'm particularly interested in that Leona Caitlyn bot lane. We haven't seen a ton of that, and it seems to be a little almost paradoxical. You've got Leona who wants to engage, and you've got Caitlyn who just wants to kite back. So, what are your thoughts on that, Luna?
Um, in that particular matchup, that's one of the cases where Caitlyn kind of doesn't really care, just because of how much CC they have together. Like, I mean, Leona herself, within 5 or 7 seconds, can get a total of 3 hard CCs off. So, I mean, you just toss Caitlyn traps on top of that, and I mean, you're done. Your level two is their level two is one of the best level twos in the game for bot lane.
Yeah, definitely the CC for days there. And considering the bot lane is going to be a Nami Jhin, they won't have the black shield to protect themselves. We'll definitely have to be very careful. Both very squishy champions here. And one thing to note also is Nimue is known as more of a enchanter support player. Nami, Yumi, that sort of thing, Soraka. But now going with the Leona support, so it'll be very interesting to see if he can play that sort of engaged tank style support as well as he can the enchanter supports here. But that aside, in terms of the team compositions right now, who do you think got the better of the pick and bans here?
That's really hard to say, just because both teams have a good engage and a good counter engage. Uh, like Glacial, they have Leona for just straight engage, whereas DOV has a Mumu. And then on the flip side of that, Glacial has Ornn for a counter engage, and DOV has Nami for counter engage, or just straight peel. So both teams drafted extremely well. This is just going to be a straight skill matchup. Whoever has the better macro and micro is going to be the victor.
For sure. So pretty even team compositions looks like coming up here. So we will have to focus a lot in the early game on the individual lanes as well as where the junglers go. Gunth, known to gank often and early as the Amumu, and Kamehameha Wave on the Trundle is going to have to be able to match that. So we'll have to see how that goes in the individual lanes here. And before we head into the intermission break while both teams are loading up, just two sort of announcements here to make changes here for the summer split of the Coalition League. The first one is that we are going to be running a giveaway or raffle on the Friday live streams here. So every Friday when we stream the series here, the 3 game blocks, if either team manages to get a pentakill, we will be holding a giveaway for a free mystery skin. So we will open a raffle for that if any team manages to get a pentakill. And so watch out for that in the Twitch chat. You will have to be a follower to be eligible to win the skin. So please make sure that you do follow before the raffle opens. Now, the other announcement is that we will be casting all the games. That means every single game will be streamed here on our Twitch channel. You can see our schedule below in the panel, so please feel free to take a look there as well to see if there's any particular game you do want to watch. And with that, we will be going into a short intermission break while we have the spectator delay going on. So we'll see you guys in a couple minutes on the Rift. And we're on to the Rift now, ladies and gentlemen. DOV Nightfall facing off against Glacial Inferno here. And both teams ready to rumble on the Rift here. Do you think we will get any level 1 shenanigans here?
I mean, if we did, it would definitely be from DOV. They have the easier engage because all you'd have to do is take Morgana Q and a Mumu Q.
For sure, and it looks like they won't be starting any shenanigans here. Just a 5-point defense or 3-point here on the side of DOV Nightfall, potentially going in for a bit of aggressive warding here. They will get the ward down into the red pit there off the side of Glacial Inferno, so a little bit of vision granted to them there, but other than that, looks like they're just going to back off. Glacial Inferno did manage to get some vision here onto the side of DOV Nightfall as well, so should be able to track where the junglers start potentially, and it looks like the Glacial Inferno is going to start the red side here, maybe? Nope, just getting the vision down, it looks like, whereas we do see Gunth heading to that bot side. He will be starting bottom side of the mat, so both junglers going to be starting bot side here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm definitely excited to see how Glacial does this week, being that it's their first game of the league, or being in the league.
Yeah, for sure. DOV Nightfall, this is majority of their roster from last split. 80% of the roster here, only missing Phantom X, and he is still back, just unable to make it tonight. Whereas on the side of Glacial Inferno, completely new team here. Now both bot lanes did help out and assist, and it looks like the top lanes aren't even going to try and hide where the junglers were starting, so they will be everybody will know where the junglers are and where they are starting here. So it's a question of where the junglers are going to gank, whether they're going to power farm. In the meantime, we do see bot lane, bit of trade going down between Caitlyn and Jhin, both very, very long range champions here.
Right. In terms of who's going to gank first and who's going to tower farm, I would definitely say that Mumu will probably try to gank early at 2 or 3. Whereas, I mean, Trundle, he can, but it's very situational. The enemy team definitely has to be way out of placement for him to get a successful gank off.
For sure, but speaking of that, we get the root coming in from Jhin onto Nimue there. Nimue going to take a lot of damage, and that's going to mean that Nimue has to be careful with engaging at level 2, having taken that much CC. And the bubble and root coming out of Jhin is no less oppressive than that Leona engage full up by Caitlyn traps here.
That's very true. Although I will say that was a very nice sidestep by Nimue. Dodging that bubble was very clutch, or else that would have been first blood.
For sure, they did manage to get the heal at least out of that girl there in the bot lane. So that will be one summoner down in that bot lane. Nimue will have to be careful. Another misstep could spell first blood for DOV Nightfall instead. And meanwhile, we see the junglers here. Both of them just content to sort of farm up. And we do see the pings coming down. Kamehameha looking for a gank into that top lane. And Gunth is not in the area to counter. So it will be a straight up gank here. We also see Windstorm rotating up a little bit. Lord of Aces gonna get slowed down by the pillar. Kamehameha coming in, but the shield there keeping Lord of Aces alive thus far. Lord Roger gonna take a lot of damage instead. The flash coming out, the claw will be sufficient. That's first blood going over to Lord of Aces, and the shield is good. Flash coming out from Gunth. He will not land the bandage toss, but it will be enough to get Kamehameha wave to back off instead. So that's gonna be 1-0. First blood going over to DOV Nightfall.
Yeah, and like that just kind of shows what I was meaning by like positioning is very key for an early Trundle gank. Oh wow.
Oh, bot lane, we see the engage. The Zenith Blade coming out of Nimue. He's flashing to safety, but it will not be enough. Mohawk gonna pick up the kill there in the bot lane instead. Has to be careful. Did not have enough health to go for that engage, and a beautiful bubble from Mohawk to keep him in place for Poison Lynch's damage there.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Nimue maybe thought that the bubble was on cooldown or something, but I mean, otherwise it was very clean. Like, it started out to be a very good engage.
For sure, but I mean, Caitlyn also doesn't have a ton of damage at early levels here. The fourth shot from Jhin will out damage Caitlyn unless she gets her hit shot proc, and even then I'm not sure about that. So that will be Nimue's flash down. So that's two summoners down in the bot lane for Glacial Inferno, whereas on the side of DOV Nightfall, they have all their summoners still available there. Might be able to pick up another kill potentially. We'll have to see how that goes. They haven't based yet though, even though they have the kill advantage. So no real advantage to DOV Nightfall in that bot lane currently. Instead, there will be the extra boots for the side of Nimue for better engage or disengage.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, we see Lord Raji here, interestingly, going very deep to get vision in the enemy jungle. Does not want to get surprise ganked by Gunth. He might have gone down early, but his CS is pretty close. Instead, it's Kamehameha Wave in the jungle. He has to be careful now. Gunth landing the bandit shots this time. Will be able to get the kill, hunting Kamehameha in his own jungle there. Surprising to see an aggressive Amumu like that.
Yeah, it looked like what had happened was Kamehameha was looking to get vision on Dragon and kind of ran into Gunk, and it was like, oh no. And I mean, he tried to get out, but it didn't work out for him.
Yeah, oh no is right. And before he's level 6, he doesn't have access to the Trundle ultimate there, the Subjugate to steal the stats from the Mumu. So Gunth able to win that trade quite handily in the jungle, and they will get the first Drake of the game for it. Mountain Drake will go over to DovN Nightfall as the prize for being able to hunt down the enemy jungler this early in the game.
Yeah, not necessarily the most useful dragon for their team overall, but Gunth and Lord Aces are definitely going to be happy about the extra resistance.
For sure, and Kamehameha might also be happy if he can steal some of that as well, but definitely still good for them. And it seems like everything's going the way of DovN Nightfall so far in the early game, and I know that we spoke in the pregame saying that considering the drafts here, both teams drafted extremely well. The early game and who comes out of it ahead is going to be a big factor in how the rest of the game plays out. So it looks like DovN Nightfall so far has the advantage in that.
Yeah, so far, what I think on top of that, though, is another key factor is how long the game drags out, because there is an ore. So that does give them a slight edge if the game gets to a state to where they just kind of freeze everything and aren't doing much.
Yeah, definitely, and Morgana as well, not known to scale terribly well into the late game. The Orianna shockwaves can turn fights, and it gets worse and worse the longer the game goes as well. So definitely Glacial Inferno does have a strong team here, just needs to get to the point where they can leverage that strength as well. So late game might go the way of Glacial Inferno. Now we do see the bot lane has backed and bought their first purchases here. Poison Lynch will be coming back to lane with a BF sword as well as that dagger, so lots more damage coming out, and we see an early chalice coming out on the side of Mohawk Gaming as well, so lots of sustain into that bot lane. Top lane we see Gunth camping out in the bush here, looking potentially for a gank, but Lord of Aces might be making it a little obvious as he just sort of stands there right now, looking like he might have even DC'd. Oh no, there you go, he moves now, but Lord Raji knows that something's up, backs right off there, so Gunth will remain sitting in that bush, will not be able to get anything on that weight.
Yeah, it's a decent idea, but I don't know, I feel like he's stayed like maybe 10-15 seconds too long. Like at a certain point you're gonna be like, okay, yeah, he ain't going, and I just need to continue farming.
Yeah, for sure. And we did see Kamehameha Wave in the area as well. He was farming up, does drop a ward into that Herald pit there. So he will be able to see if the side of DovN Nightfall decides to start up the Herald. And Gunth looking like he's going to repeat that gank into the top lane. They do have a pink ward, a vision ward, so definitely wants to try and get something off of that. But Lord Raji going to walk by the ward. He doesn't step into the bush. But now he spots it as he drops a ward down. Gunth is in the area, however, looking to find the bandit shots. Will not land it, but will be able to clear the ward. Nope, he's just gonna leave that ward there.
I mean, sure. Oh, that was great binding.
Yeah, good binding from Web Hippo, but he didn't have the Tormented Soil available, will not be able to follow up. Instead, just going to trade a bit of damage into the mid lane here. Lands yet another binding, and with that, Windstorm's down to half health already.
You know, I'm actually curious if Web Hippo might not be maxing W, it might be split maxing the two abilities just to try to get more poke out of his Qs on top of being able to wave clear with Tormented Soil.
Yeah, it looks like he's got 2 points into the Dark Binding there, 4 points into Tormented Soil. So yeah, as you said, splitting it a little bit there for that longer bind, as well as being able to wave clear a little bit better here. And, you know, with that, it looks like both teams have sort of decided to sit back and farm it up a little bit. Dragon will be coming up in about a minute here. And it will be a Cloud Drake here for either team to take. And just as I say that, Kamehameha Wave looking to go into the bot lane, but there's a pink right there, so he will be revealed. Instead, he has to run now. His Gunth is in the area, flashes over Bandit Shots, but a flash from Kamehameha will keep him alive as well. And the fight instead has transitioned to the bot lane. Nimue now getting caught. Does have the flash available, but the Curse of the Sand Mummy will catch and will kill him. Kamehameha now the target here. The bubble coming down will catch him up, and only that girl left alive. Will have to heal and flash to get themselves to safety. That's a 2-4-0 in favor of DovN Nightfall, and potentially that's going to be drag going over to them again. It's in 18 seconds. It's going to spawn here, and they are in the area and do have the position to take it.
Yeah, they're very healthy. I mean, Poison Lich and Mohawk, they are kind of low on mana, but I mean, that really only hurts Nami. And I mean, they only need to auto it. Well, Gun tanks it anyways, so.
Yeah, so it looks like they will be able to pick it up quite easily there. There's no contest at all. Kamehameha opting to just go and farm his jungle. Instead was at the Raptors there. So, yeah, absolutely zero contest. And that's the second Drake going over. That's a Cloud Drake this time. So that's going to be cooldown reductions on ultimates across the team.
Yeah, and that is definitely a dragon that you want to have no matter what champion you are.
Yeah, now in the mid lane, we see the gank coming down from Kamehameha Wave. The Black Shield will stop the slow from the pillar, but won't stop the damage coming out. And Weapon will have to flash to get himself to safety there. And a beautiful command shockwave brings him back in. The Dark Binding misses, and Windstorm's going to just walk this in. We'll be able to pick it up with the command move there. And that's the first kill for the side of Glacial Inferno.
You hate to see it. He could have... Weapon had such a good chance to get out, but unfortunately the whiff of the binding there, it definitely hurt him, sending him to the gray screen.
For sure. And not only does that mean that Windstorm gets the first kill off the game for the team, but Windstorm was already winning that lane in terms of CS, the only winning lane here for the side of Glacial Inferno. So if anything, that's just going to make it that much harder for Web Hippo to sort of come back into the lane there and win it. That being said, the rest of the lanes here in favor of DovN Nightfall. Top lane, we've got about a 15 CS discrepancy here in favor of Lord of Aces. In the bot lane, a 41 CS discrepancy. That's absolutely huge. And even as we say that, Gunth picking himself up the Herald there now, looking potentially to drop it top. He's wandering up there with Lord of Aces, and they might... they won't be able to take the tower down, I don't think, but it's still quite a few plates going to go the way of DovN Nightfall as well.
Definitely. And I mean, on top of like seeing the gold differences, you can also see it just out of the items. Jin already has it. Oh wait.
And speaking of Jin in the bot lane, Kamehameha gonna gank there. The bubble coming across will land, but it's gonna be the traps on Mohawk that's gonna see Mohawk dead. Instead, Poison Lynch unable to turn around and pick up Kame. Top lane, Lord Raji getting dove, and Lord of Aces will pick up the kill. So it's a trade 1-for-1 bot for top here. And it will be the top lane turret potentially going down. There are two AP champions there having problems taking that turret down, but bot lane, they aren't going to be able to shove much into turret at all. Poison Lynch able to safely shove out, keep the bot lane wave a bit even here. Kamehameha having to back off. He's very, very low on health and will be safe there. Instead, yep, Lord of Aces will not be able to take that first turret down on this wave, it looks like. Instead, we're going to see the teleport coming down from Lord Raji, so he'll be able to hold and keep that turret standing for a bit longer. And the teleport boosts the movement speed. He's going to run right into Lord of Aces there. He wants this fight. They're equal on levels. He just bought, and Lord of Aces is still a bit damaged from the last fight, but still able to trade back quite evenly there.
Man, fights all day. It's definitely starting to look like a Coalition League game.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we're looking at the tempo here. A little slow. 8 kills, 14:30. That's not even close to the fastest game we've seen at all. It's one of the slower ones, but the action is happening, just not picking up that many kills. And as we say, action, Kamehameha looking for the top lane gank. Drops the pill, but doesn't quite land the slow on Lord of Aces. Lord of Aces is going to turn around and whack him with the mace. Will be able to get out without taking almost any damage there from Kamehameha.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, while we haven't seen as many kills as we normally would have at this point, so far, like aside from turrets, all the objectives have been taken pretty much almost as soon as they've come up, save for Rift Herald.
Yeah, definitely. And the next objective coming up will be the Dragon again. And it's going to be Inferno. We are on the Inferno map from here on out. So both teams will be happy to stack that damage on their champions here, especially on the side of DOV Nightfall. Lots of damage in top lane. Lord of Aces going in on Lord Raji once again. Is happy to take all those trades, and he keeps winning them.
Yeah. And just a second, like the use of getting the Infernal. Wait a minute.
Bot lane, the gang's coming down. Gunth is running in there, flashing in. Did not manage to land it though. So Nimue and that girl going to be able to walk out the Jin's ultimate there. Not going to be able to find much damage either. So will remain safe in that bot lane. But that will give them a bit of an advantage as Dragon will be coming up in about 10 seconds here.
Yeah, I mean, at least Gunth was able to get them to trade that girl's flash for his own. So that is something that she won't have for a while.
Yeah, and both ADCs here definitely want to make sure they have their flashes available. Neither are particularly mobile here. And speaking of mobile, the Kame is running in. They land a solar flare. The Zenith Blade comes across, and that's a one fight for the side of Glacial Inferno. Web Hippo deep in there now. Will use the stopwatch, but it will not keep him alive. He's going to go down, and now Nimue gonna get hit by the last shot here. Kamehame gonna go down as well, and that's both junglers dead. And it looks like DOV, despite losing that fight initially, will be the ones to get position advantage and will get the third Drake off the game. That's a 3-for-2 in favor of Glacial Inferno, but they're all so low they can't follow up, and we'll have to seat the Dragon despite winning the fight.
Yeah, like when it comes to just straight kills, Glacial Inferno did come up on top. But I mean, giving up that Infernal, that's definitely gonna hurt them, especially just because like all the multipliers that Jin gets from getting attack speed to boost his AD. You definitely don't want Jin to have any Infernals at all, if possible.
Yeah, for sure. And on top of that as well, that will put them at soul points. So the next Drake, if DOV Nightfall manages to pick up the next Inferno, they will get themselves an Inferno soul as well. So if the burst from Jin was not enough, it will be now. And we see a beautiful bubble landing up from Mohawk, and Gunth was on the wings as well. Will throw down the sad, Curse of the Sad Mummy, and will pick up the kill. And that's going to be Windstorm going down for the first time this game.
That was just mean.
Beautifully executed gag. Top lane, Lord of Ace is gonna get the first start of the game for the side of DOV Nightfall, and Lord Raji now gonna get destroyed in that 1v1. No turret to keep him safe will go down as well, and that makes him 0-3-0 compared to Lord of Ace's 4-0. That Mordekaiser is becoming an absolute menace here.
Very true, and it's just like, I mean, oh, we can't see what Orange's level is currently, but I'm guessing he's either level 10 or 11, so that's definitely hurting him. Like, he's not able to contest the Mordekaiser, so if anything, they should try to swap him into the bot lane and maybe try to get farm there away from Mordekaiser so he can try to come online.
For sure, it looks like nobody can quite handle that Mordekaiser right now as we see him safely get away from Windstorm and Kamehame. Windstorm going to use that teleport to get into the mid lane, will be greeted with a binding right away from Web Hippo. Welcome back to lane. And yeah, as you call it, level 11, he's 2 levels down now from Lord of Aces. And while all this was happening, the bot lane of Poison Lynch and Mohawk did manage to pick up the bot lane turret as well. Now Lord of Aces getting collapsed on by 3 will drag Nimue into the death realm to keep himself alive a bit longer, but it's not looking like he will survive this. Will be able to pick Nimue up though in the midst of that, and I might have spoken too soon as he looks like he might be getting out here. The Flash will dodge the Ornhorn, and Lord Raji and Kamea going the wrong way. Lord of Aces getting out of a 3-man gank there.
Wow. Oh, no way. No
and the
way.
curtain call from Poison Lynch. They managed to pick Kamehame up, and now Lord Raji has to run for his life as Mohawk is chasing. We'll be able to get out. That's still a 2-for-0 on what was initially a 3 man gank onto Lord of Aces, and they did manage to pick up the Herald as well. Gun's gonna drop it into that mid lane behind the turret there. They will pick up the turret before Shelly even actually hits it, but Shelly will still lose a ton of his health. So if they can't take Shelly down before he gets the second turret, no, they can't. So he will at least be able to get the damage down onto the inner mid lane turret there, and Mohawk taking a bunch of damage. Has to be careful. If the shockwave comes out, he's going to die. Instead, it's going to be Zenith Blade onto Poison Lynch instead. Gunt getting stunned up, but the Curse of the Sad Mummy will buy a bit of time. He re-engages onto Windstorm, but I'm not sure that's what he wanted. But Web Hippo on the side will be able to pick him up. We'll use the Soul Shackles to confirm the kill, and the fight goes on. Dark Binding will not land this time, and they will be able to disengage, and now all of a sudden the tides have turned. DOV Nightfall going to pick up that inner mid lane turret and siege up the inhibitor turret.
Yeah, these are fights that Glacial definitely, they don't need to be picking them like at all. They just need to try to back up and just get whatever farm they can safely, because right now they're just giving free gold over DOV Nightfall.
Yeah, and speaking of gold, that's an 8,500 gold difference in favor right now of DOV Nightfall. 13 kills to 5, and they've got all the objectives up to this point. 3 dragons, 2 heralds, and speaking of dragons, the next dragon's coming up in about 40 seconds here, and with all the outer turrets down, the inner mid lane turret down for the side of Glacial Inferno, they're gonna have a real risky time trying to get to that dragon pit safely.
Yeah, like it's especially with Trial being down 2 levels on Amumu, it's just like right now they have to make the risky call. Do they contest for Soul Point because they feel they need to, or do they risk trading it off for Baron in the slim chance that Baron might give them an edge?
Yeah, and even if they try and do Baron, they'll have to be very, very careful. Kamehameha is 2 levels down from Gunth right now, so the smite advantage does lie with DOV Nightfall. And we do see DOV Nightfall going to hit right over to the Inferno there, pick it up, and they do manage to secure it before the side of Glacial Inferno gets into position. They were going for it, and then now we see the curtain call get Windstorm, and that will be enough for the rest of the team to collapse and pick Windstorm up. So they've got the Inferno Drake, and they got the kill in top lane. Lord of Aces once more dominating now, 6-0-1, killing Lord Raji in the 1v1 under his turret, and picks the turret up to boot as well. It's all going Nightfall's way right now.
For sure. Like, I know we got to see a couple of times last split the curse of the sad bullet time, but now we're seeing the curse of the curtain fall. Like that, not only does that sound cool, but that's just devastating.
Definitely, there's the sheer lockdown and the slows, and with that, they do manage to pick up the inhibitor turret and the inhibitor in the mid lane as well. They're just going to rotate straight to that top lane. Kame has to be careful. He is not tanky. He's only level 10 at this point. He's lower than everyone on DOV Nightfall. The binding lands, the bubble lands, and they potentially might get the kill. He has to flash himself to safety. Instead, the Ornhorn coming down. Web Hippo taking a ton of damage from the turret. Gun's just going to stay under the turret there. He doesn't care. He's tanky enough. They will pick up Windstorm instead, and top lane, Lord Face is finally going down. Shutdown going to go over to Nimue, though, of all people. Not who you wanted it on. And on the side of Glacial, they're all so low here. Ace in the hole comes out, will get intercepted by Gunth instead, and they're going to be able to get that inhibitor turret in the top lane. Lord Raji, you did not want to be building his item there, will get sniped down while he was building his item, and that will be the inhibitor in the top lane as well. The base has been cracked wide open here.
Yeah, and I mean, at this point, we're starting to get into long cooldown spawns. Like, I mean, that's almost a free Baron guaranteed.
Yeah, and you called it. DOV's just racing over to the side of Baron right now. They popped that blast cone, and they're now in there doing the Baron. Only Lord of Ace is not available for the team right now, but he has teleport, can join if he so wishes. Not that they need it. Gunth tanking this up, but he's taking a lot of damage. The heals from Mohawk going to keep him topped up here. And on the side of Glacial Inferno, they're going to send a small team to try and intercept, but they will not get there in time. Instead, Scryer's Bloom will spot them out, and it's going to be DOV Nightfall's Baron at 24 minutes.
Yeah, like right now, it's definitely DOV's game to lose. Normally I would try to say like what Glacial could try to do to come back, but right now it's looking. They need a miracle at this point. Not to be that guy, but that's just how it is. Like they have 2 inhibs down. They haven't been able to get any neutral objectives for themselves. They're almost 12k gold behind. It's like, yeah, right now they have supers coming in, and that will give them a little bit of an influx while they're not having that fight to defend their base. But I'm not sure if that's going to be enough to get them proper item spikes.
Yeah, I mean, supers coming to your base is normally a good thing if you can control them, but right now they've got two sides open, bot, and they've got Baron on the side of DOV Nightfall along with those supers, and only one lane that they need to push into, and they will be sieging up that bot lane. The turret's going down real fast here. Glacial not going to be in position to do anything, and now Nimue getting grabbed up here. The bubble lands, and that's going to be Nimue potentially going down right away. Nope, will survive. The stone plate is good, but it's extremely low. Will be forced out. The Ornhorn coming out, but it's a last minute play. He misses the Ornhorn, doesn't get the second hop, and will get melted immediately. Kamehameha as well, and that Grow got caught in the back line by Lord of Aces right away. So that's going to be 3-0. They've got supers, they've got Baron, they've got Nexus turrets, and they're now looking for the Nexus itself. That's going to be an easy win here for DOV Nightfall. 26 minutes and about 7 seconds going to be time on this one. 20-6 the final score. Extremely one-sided game here in game one.
Yeah, that was just clinical. I mean, just by looking at the minimap, if you look at the outer turrets for DOV, I'm not even sure that any of them went down to half health. Like, this game was just a massacre.
Yeah, that was just really, really unfortunate for the side here of Glacial Inferno. And with that, I think they will be swapping sides, and they will be blue side for the next game. DOV Nightfall going to be red side for game 2. And so the question here is, what do they need to do to win this game here? Where do Glacial Inferno go?
See, that's a really good question because from what I could tell, like they did play very well early. There was just like a few positioning errors and like or just like accidental misclicks. So it's really hard to say. Like I feel like they played well. They just got outplayed just barely. And it was enough to where DOV could run with it. So the question is, do they switch up their bans, especially since they'll be on blue side now? That and unlike last split, where there was 3 separate best of ones, these are going to be blocks of 3. So everyone's going to play the same opponent 3 times in a row, regardless of wins or losses. So now they also have a feel for how they play. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see what Glacial Omen learned from this game, or Glacial Inferno, pardon me.
Sure, so we will be expecting to see some changes at least from the picks and bans for Glacial Inferno. And with that, we're going to go into a short intermission break before we go into game 2 here of the 3 block between DOV Nightfall and Glacial Inferno.